Whether it's the regular season or the off season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network.
Watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. We're running a little late tonight, but I mean, things happen. It's preseason. We're getting things ready for the regular season. So I'd rather make my mistakes now than do them in the regular season and look foolish, because perfection takes work, and work is the end source of how you make a successful show. So thank you for joining us on this show tonight. So I've got a little bit of good news and bad news scenario. And, we'll start with the bad news, of course. I think it just softens the blow a little bit. We are once again without our good friend Tyler Staggs. Tyler has a situation. He's taking care of it. He's out of town right now. Everything's all right. I can assure you. I've kept in touch with him, and I'll keep in touch with him as the week goes. But unfortunately, we weren't able to have him in tonight. We will have him back next week. I promise. Just things happen, and it's another situation out of our hands that we couldn't foresee that came to be. But that's where we get to the good news. The good news is we do have a guest host tonight, and I'm very happy to have him back on the show. He's become a very good friend of the show, and we've enjoyed having his insight on there. So a special welcome tonight for our good friend and content creator, Kobe Allen. Kobe, welcome to the Power Hour.
Appreciate you having me. Always a fun time coming on here and just sharing my love for the Titans, and ready to have a good show.
All right, so before we get started, I definitely like touching on a little bit of the stuff that kind of fell through the cracks in the news this week. And, preseason week 2's in the books, and I feel some interesting takes, especially to take away from. Already Monday, it's been announced that the Cleveland Browns have decided, after a very controversial press conference and definitely a slap in the face of Cleveland Browns fans, Deshaun Watson apparently is now the starting quarterback, and, I guess I can say hello foot, insert mouth. But, what was your takeaway from that whole press conference going forward? I think it's really just it set frustrations afoot with what Deshaun Watson's been going through. But at the same time, it's really hard to feel sorry for a guy that put himself in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, as a fan of the sport, and if I were a fan of the Cleveland Browns, I would be very questionable of the decision, just because you want your guy to have a positive impact in the fan base as well as on the field. And it's just surprising with the negative presser that he had, kind of going at the fans. And I mean, I can't say whether he's right or wrong in how he feels about his fan base, but at the same time, you're the quarterback, and you got to just kind of take it on the chest and accept it, and accept your deal in the things. And I feel like he just hasn't really taken accountability in his side of what the fans are coming from, and it's just very questionable decision. I thought Shador looked, in what I've seen, I think he's looked okay in preseason. And I honestly thought he had the battle in his hands, but I guess the front office and the coaching staff thought otherwise.
So from that standpoint, it's understandable, a player marred in just massive controversy. He's never really just been welcome, especially after the trade. It was one of those situations. Houston's trying to cash out while there's value there. And it's just been a bad deal once again for the Cleveland Browns, just to throw on the pile at this point because I can't say anything good about it because understandably you're trying to find anything to where he's brought in any kind of just consistent change, but it's all been for the worse. And I just I don't get the fact, especially when you feel that Shador Sanders needs to be your guy, and it seems like, you know, everybody's pumping him up at this point. I mean, is this the right decision long term for Cleveland? I understand they can't get out of Deshaun Watson's deal. It's not going to happen. The whole thing's just complicated, just to say the least, without making a big show about it. And that's not what I'm trying to do. But I mean, does it feel like that they're just waiting for him to just slip up and then find a way to insert Shador going forward?
I That's what it looks like, but I feel like it should be the other way around because I mean Shador ended the year last year as the starter, and I mean he played okay. I mean he was a rookie. He made rookie mistakes, and he's learning. But at this point, I feel like you should let him continue that progress of what he showed last year, and then you could go back to Deshaun if needed. But if not, you have your young guy that you drafted to be your franchise quarterback, and then that's just your quarterback. And I feel like they're trying to force the Deshaun case way too much. I mean, he's shown what he is at this point, and I don't foresee it really getting any better. I don't know how it can get any better. He's been very subpar in his time with the Browns so far. He's been injured a lot. Um, but yeah, I would rather start the year with Shador building off of what he did last year and hoping he continues that and you have your quarterback rather than he's got the hiccup now where he's going to be just sitting and learning and instead of being out there learning while he's playing. And I just think it's just bad for both sides, honestly.
So, I mean, realistically, what do you see the best scenario happening in 2027 right now? Do you see Shador Sanders actually playing well enough to maybe merit another year going into that season? Or the Cleveland Browns potentially going to have to be looking for another quarterback, which is a pretty good quarterback draft heading into right now?
Yeah, I like Shador and I like his work ethic. That's why I wish he would have started this year because I feel like that gives you more time to see for sure if you do have to use draft capital on another quarterback, rather than thinking maybe he's going to work out and not really knowing for sure. And then you draft another quarterback and then you have to play that first round quarterback because you drafted him so high or whatever the case. And then Shador is just left stranded. So I think it's going to go how it has gone. I think Deshaun's going to start off and then he's not going to pan out like we all expect. And then Shador will come in. And I think he's going to do fine this year. I think he'll earn that another year or whatever, just because he hasn't really gotten enough chances to show him or to show that the Cleveland Browns that he can be that guy. And I think you just need more reps. You need more real deal playing time to show that. And they're just cutting that time short with sitting him on the bench early. I'd rather figure that out through the first half of the year than the back half of the year where you're left with a question mark like you were last year, where you didn't know for sure if he could be that guy.
So, obviously, you and I have a lot to talk about tonight. Moving forward, the Tennessee Titans played the Seahawks last night, and despite a win, once again, everybody's walking away with a bad taste in their mouth, and understandably so. So, before we jump into it any further, let's go ahead and get ready for our next segment. We have got a lot to talk about, and we don't want to waste any more time talking about anything that doesn't seem to be interesting at this point. So, Kobe, let's jump into our first segment. Joining us tonight on the Power Hour with your host, Michael Bishop. Let's hit the kickoff right now.
And here's the kick.
So, Kobe, let me ask you this. If I could give you one word to sum up last night's game, what would work best for you?
Mm, just incomplete, I guess. Just iffy. If I could had to choose one, kind of iffy. just because you're not really given enough to judge because they're not out there running their full playbook. Um, and it's just hard, especially offensively. It's hard to judge because you're limited in the playbook. You just want to see some sort of competence and moving the ball. Um, and Cam Ward did that last night. He looked more comfortable, I should say. He looked more calm in the pocket last night. So yeah, my word would be kind of iffy or incomplete, just because you're just still not given enough to see what he played 3 drives, 4 drives last night. So you're just not given a whole complete um version of what it's going to be. He made his easy throws like he didn't do the first week, and that's what we wanted to see. Like his check downs to Pollard, he made some throws to Wandell Robinson, and then he made a really good rollout throw to Ellick. I think it was on a second down, if I'm not wrong. And then we had some drops. We had a drop from Carnell, and then we had the play to Helm where he didn't get his second foot down. So I would just say as a fan, it's just iffy. You just don't know. And I don't think we're going to know until we get a couple weeks into the season for us to really be able to judge how he's come along. So yeah, I would say iffy.
Okay, you brought up a lot of great points, and we're gonna like take each one step by step because I feel you have to break down this game in just little portions. Because the whole game, it feels like just a washing machine. You know, everything's getting knocked around, and then we get on the spin cycle, and then it's a completely different scenario after it finishes. So let's go ahead and start with a positive because I think it's a good place to start. So I feel the running game has continued to be a big strength for this team. You know, despite the fact, Tajay Spears not getting as many touches and, Tony Pollard having a limited workload, I like the backups, how they played last night.
Yeah.
I really felt the offensive line did a solid job as well. Take away some of those penalties, which that's another topic we'll talk about later, that there was some solid work done by the offensive line and the running back room. So I feel pretty good about the Titans' opportunity at potentially adding some young talent to this team. Maybe not in a starting role, but I could see him get some touches for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Chestnut looked really good last night, as he always does in the preseason. And he's just a really solid backup running back that you feel comfortable if one of your guys goes down. He runs hard. He's got the speed to him. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And then another player that stood out was Dearness Johnson, who we just picked up. He looked like he really ran with good vision. He was patient and he hit the holes when he had to. Um, so yeah, I agree. Our running game looked really solid. I mean, from the start of the game to the back to when the backups were in, the offensive line was creating holes that were very clear to the running backs that they could hit the hole and get 10, 15 yards. Chestnut, I think, had 40 some yards last night rushing. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong on that, but he just looked comfortable back there. He looked like a pro, and he looked like he's gonna be able to get some touches during the season if somebody goes down. But yeah, I really liked Pollard last night. Looked really good too. Catching the ball out of the backfield, running down the sideline. He looks like he's ready to go again for another 1,000-yard season. Um, but yeah, our running back room has some really good depth to it, and we weren't even able to see Singleton last night, who is another good piece to this running game. But yeah, I was really that was a like you said, a positive to the game last night was our running game and the fact that our offensive line was able to create those holes for our running backs to go through.
Shout out to Dearness Johnson. He had a solid game,
He
especially with the
really
game winning
did.
touchdown. I mean, for getting a guy right off the street and getting him to work, I mean, I felt this was a great addition for the team, and he really just put in the effort to potentially show, you know, I might be worth keeping around. And
Right.
if he's going to continue to run like that, I don't mind splitting those kind of carries, especially maybe if you need to keep your starting two just and get them a quick blow. So really happy with how that worked out. So with a positive, let's go ahead and hit a negative aspect. And I'm not going to hit on I'm not going to hit on the ones we want to talk about. That just seems too easy. I want to talk about something that not a lot of people are talking about, and I think it's a big deal. Penalties. Titans got penalized 11 times for 100 yards in the game, and they were in all three phases. Understandably, that is a big problem in any type of game. So the only thing that makes you feel better about that sentence is that the Seahawks had 14 penalties of their own. So that kind of just took away from, I think, the night. But I still think it's a massive deal going forward. So, Kobe, I got to ask you, that has to be something they need to clean up with the Bears game looming on a very short turnaround week.
Yes, penalties are just momentum killers. They help the opposing offense get down the field and scoring range. Like we saw that early penalty from Flott, which it was a questionable penalty, but at the same time, you just got to be safe about it, and we cannot be having penalty after penalty. I mean, we've seen it in the past how it just kills your momentum. It kills the confidence of your offense if they're moving and you get a holding penalty, or the defense if you're about to make a stop and you get an illegal contact that creates a first down or whatever the case may be. It's a huge momentum killer, and I think that's definitely something the coaches need to hone in on this week and just going forward into the season, that we can't be a team that's constantly giving teams chances because we're making mistakes like that are, especially like the taunting penalty from Cedric Gray, like stuff like that. It just can't happen. And he's been in the league long enough now where he's got to know. Yes, you made a great play, you made great coverage, but at the same time, be professional. Be just you don't have to do all the extra stuff. And at the end of the day, it's the only thing it's going to do is hurt your team in getting a penalty, giving the other team more yards, getting them into field goal range, whatever it is. It's got to be. We got to straighten that out for sure. I don't want that to be a problem coming week 1, week 2, and on. That's something that's got to be nipped in the butt real quick and now. And I want to definitely want to see an improvement in that area next week versus the Bears.
And look, the Cedric Gray thing, it didn't really bother me that much. Guys taunt, it's just how many officials are going to let certain things go. And I just kind of felt they let this one they gave too much effort and just really didn't need to call this one. It's just been one of those weird rules where it's like, there's a certain degree I think should be a penalty if you go too far. I don't have a problem with somebody wagging a finger at somebody. I've never have. I don't feel that that's worthy of a penalty. Maybe that's something they move forward and talk about in the offseason, but it's something I think needs to be addressed regardless. Another thing with the penalties, it wiped out a would-be touchdown from Xavier Restrepo, and that just made me sick to my stomach.
Yes, and that was a really good looking play too. He created during his route and found a spot in the end zone just to be negated by, what was it, a holding on
It was holding on Slater.
Yep. Yeah, we can't have that, especially in the red zone. I mean, it just we got to have 6 instead of 3, and we can't live off the field goals, and penalties like that are gonna set your offense back, and it's just something we cannot have. Like you said, that was an awesome play by Restrepo, and getting open and creating for his quarterback, and a penalty like that is just a mood killer. It's a momentum killer. It just you gotta hone in on it, and you gotta get your technique right so things like that don't happen.
And speaking of field goal, I'm not anti-field goal, which brings me from the next good point. And I guess we're building a compliment sandwich here, starting with a good, putting something we need to work on there, and then putting something good back on there. So give Joey Sly his due. He is continually he's continuing to streak in the best way possible after that horrid practice that he went through. So as of now, 4 for 4 in the preseason opener in San Francisco, 4 for 4 tonight or last night against the Seahawks, and he is now 27 of 27 in his last 5 outings, and that's including games and practices.
Yeah, he has answered the bell because I mean they after that practice they brought in a couple kickers and I think he was just like, all right, let me lock in, and he's made every single field goal that he's taken this and during the preseason games, and
Oh,
that's
that was roughly about 5 kickers they brought in. Let's be real.
yeah,
They brought in about a team of
they were
kickers.
concerned, and I mean rightfully so. You got to have a reliable kicker, and I'm glad that he's answered the bell and he's come out here and he's made 50 plus yard kicks with ease. You know, he's got from his rapport, he's got a lot of leg in him. He can make those big kicks, and it's really refreshing as a fan to see that and see that he corrected his mistakes and his errors that he was having in the early practices. And that's just it's really nice to know, at least know that we got a reliable kicker that's not going to let us down when we need the 3 points, and it's always good to get points on the board. So yeah, I'm very ecstatic with how Joey Sly has come out and answered all the negative energy that was building his way with them bringing in kickers and maybe looking to go another route. But I think for now he's safe.
I'll tell you what's not safe right now. And this has definitely been building for a little while. And I think it's a good talking point to start on. So, once again, the compliment sandwich hit on a good point. Now we got to get on one point that I think really needs to be addressed. And it's concerning for just about everybody in this fan base. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Once again, we expected the defense to have a turnaround after a bad performance last week. The secondary just didn't live up to expectations. But now the entire defense against Seattle's backups looked absolutely abysmal. And I can't say or give another word for it because that's the best thing I can describe it as. It was just like watching a car wreck just continuously. So, I mean, Kobe, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most just panic that you could give, I mean, where are you at right now with this defense?
Oh man, I would say I'm about at a 5 now. And going in before these games, I was very hyped about our defense. I thought we made the right moves this offseason and bringing in some corners, bringing in some help on the D line. But yeah, it's very concerning to not see the quarterback getting pressured, seeing him going 7 for 7, 8 for 8, with no pass breakups, no nothing like that. And I don't know how they're calling it or how they want them to play right now, but at the same time, it's just like with the D line, you at this point you just want to see people winning their one-on-ones. You want to see Jeffrey Simmons getting into the backfield with ease, especially against backup players. Um, and and Jermaine Johnson is another one where we haven't really seen him get a lot of pressure in these first 2 preseason games, and it's concerning for sure. And I'm sure that'll fix itself with. I mean, it's hard to say it'll fix itself because at this point, it's just winning your one-on-one matchups and being the stronger player, being the more physical, the player that wants it more on as far as the defensive line goes, and not seeing a pass rush against backups is very concerning to me. I know we didn't have JFM out there, we didn't have Falk out there, but at the same time, like you just want to see guys, you want to see Jermaine Johnson winning his one-on-ones. You want to see Jeffrey Simmons getting some push back into the backfield. And it was just like last night, there was no pressure on the quarterback. There was holes in the line for running backs to run a long touchdown. And I mean that goes to the linebackers as well. Um, Cody Barton, very concerned about him being the starter. He's just looks like he's playing at quicksand. Honestly, it's like he can't get to the hole to stuff the running back, or it looks like he doesn't want to. Like on that long touchdown play, he just gets washed out by a tight end, and it's just like right now you want to see guys willing to fill those gaps, fill the holes, and not let running backs run more than 5 yards or whatever the case is. And I would say it's very. I'm a little concerned on the defensive front. I think Robert Saleh gets it fixed. He's always had good defenses, and I do think we have the right guys um, in place. I think Anthony Hill needs to be taking more reps with the ones. He looked phenomenal last night, getting an interception. He's fast to the ball. He's fast downhill, and that's just not what we get from Cody Barton at this point in his career. I think he'll be fine as a backup coming in for Hill, but at this point, Hill just looks very fast. He looks physical. He looks like a Robert Saleh linebacker along with Cedric Gray. Those are some good backers we have. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty concerned about it, and I won't sound the alarms yet. It's still early. They're still getting comfortable with playing football again, and it's just I want to definitely want to see more from the defensive, especially the front seven next week. I don't want to see wide open holes. I want to see some pressure on the quarterback. But again, it takes time. It takes learning the guy next to you, and but yeah, I'm a little concerned with how they look last night.
And shout out to What's Shaking Titans in the comments, by the way. He's like definitely throwing down some wisdom. And here's my thing. It's understandable where there's frustration and how everything's playing out and how everybody just feels like that we're just in the same rut and nothing's changing. But in retrospect, I'd rather make these mistakes now
Exactly.
than make them in October, because these are fixable. These are things you can just take your time with. And I know we only have one preseason game left, and the regular season's going to be a couple weeks away. So you're going to have to like hit the gas pedal and really get these things just acclimated to the right point, because this defense just got, annihilated by backups. But let me take this point, and I think this is important to even bring up that no one's talking about it as well. Can we just say for a second how good Seattle is as a franchise and how well run they are, where your backups can actually play a game and be competitive?
Yeah. I mean,
That's just
that's
what it takes
awesome.
to be a solid or run organization, to where you know how to potentially draft, you know how to sign guys, you know how to fit them in your system, and you understand the culture is already there. So Seattle knew what they were doing. Seattle is obviously going to be another favorite for the Super Bowl this year, despite some people thinking that there's other favorite teams, and that's fine. That's another story for another day. But I'm going to give Seattle their roses. That team is damn well run, and the Titans need to understand, if they want to get to that point of competition, that is the model they need to be striving for.
Yes, consistency and I mean just attention to detail. They all just looked like they knew what they were doing out there. I mean, Drew Lock is a really good backup quarterback that went out there last night. He looked comfortable. He wasn't stressed out. He was throwing wherever he wanted to throw the ball. And I mean, I know that touchdown was wide open, but I mean, at the same time, you got to make the throw. And they just looked on point, whereas ours just looked like we're kind of scrambling a little bit. We don't know exactly where we're supposed to be, and that just comes from the system, like you said, that championship DNA that they have instilled in them already. And so for our team, I hope it's just a really good learning point for them to take that from a team that has won a Super Bowl and see how even their backups play and how hard they play, how fundamentally sound they are, and that's just what it takes to be a really good team.
So I'm going to get to a little compliment right here, because I think we spent enough time like bashing the defense at this point, and we'll critique that a little more, especially when we talk about when they play the Bears this Saturday. So I'm going to give a shout out to a guy that I think really didn't get a lot of props and a lot of roses, and I thought played a really good game. especially when he made the game stealing interception. So shout out to Derek Canteen. This dude's balling for a spot on this roster. And it's hard to see how these things play out, but I love seeing these guys getting an opportunity. And when they get one, it really it's a massive win for the entire team and the fan base because these dudes are fighting just to play. They don't know, they're not promised. You love these stories, and Canteen to me, that was just an awesome way to seal the game.
Yeah, what a play by him. And I mean, it's cool to see how hyped the sideline was for him too. And that's what you want to see is our ones hyping up these guys and those guys out there making the plays that earn roster spots. I mean, especially with the questionable depth at safety. I mean, he definitely did his thing last night and hopefully for his sake put him on the radar to make a roster spot as a depth safety because I mean we have Hooker and we have Winston and then Adams and then after that it's open for whoever goes out there and gets it and plays like that to get you on that radar.
So getting back to some negatives. And I think I can't really call this a negative, but for the lack of what you're trying to see him do, it's understandable why people are frustrated. So I have to kind of just set it right here, but I put an asterisk right next to it because I think there's more to it. Cam Ward, I don't think had a bad night. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was what it was. You know, it was improved slightly over last week. And I felt there was a couple plays out there that could have changed the entire dynamic if they get made. And of course, I'm talking about the one of Gunnar Helm not getting his toe inbounds. And of course, an over the head potential catch for Cornell Tate, which did not happen. I think those were massive missed opportunities, but there were still some good things Cam did that I think merit a little bit of conversation. So, I mean, Kobe, I mean, it's easy to understand the frustration for a first round pick not living up to these expectations, especially in a new offense. But are we really being realistic at this point?
I just don't know what people exactly are wanting them to or wanting to see in three drives. I mean, last night I think he did fine. Like you said, if he can if Tate comes down with that early catch, if Helm gets his foot in, we're looking at this completely different, and who knows what happens as those drives go on. I think that throw to Iomanner that should have been called a pass interference. I think that he should have thrown that maybe a little earlier to lead him more. But at the same time, he looked fine. He's young, he's learning, and I'm not out by any means on Cam Ward. I think he's gonna have a great year, especially. I mean, he's got to get rid of all the bad habits that he picked up under the bad offense last year, and that's gonna take time. And now he's got a coach that's proven and he's worked with good quarterbacks and he's had good offenses. And it's just about taking that time and learning each and every week. And like it was a step from last week. So now next week, I want to see a little bit better from Cam Ward. And then going into week one, I want to see things starting to click. And I mean, last night he looked more comfortable. He didn't look like he was rushing things like he did in that first game. He looked like he was trying to trust his offensive line more, which he's got to learn, and he's got to try to stay in the pocket. And then the fumble that he had, he's just got to learn to protect that football when he's scrambling. But all those things are coachable, and I think will get coached over time. Like last year, he was running for his life majority of the time. He was in a scheme that just didn't really look good. And obviously wasn't good because that coach is no longer here. Um, but yeah, I think the panic on Cam Ward is a little excessive. It's gonna take time. He was in a horrible system last year with not a lot of weapons around him, a bad O line. And that kind of thing scars quarterbacks. They got to kind of unlearn all the bad habits that they picked up from trying to escape and trying to be the hero and know that you got weapons now. Your offensive line is a little bit more upgraded. So I think it's going to take time, and I just want to see a little bit more execution next week against the Bears, and then so on and so forth into the season.
And yeah, I mean, you bring up good points. And I mean, I didn't get to touch on the fumble as well, but that is something I really want to see Cam Ward continue to improve on because that's critical, especially in a game situation. Protect the ball. That is the number one priority of the quarterback, especially when he has his hands on the ball more than any other player on that field. That is his number one job. So realistically, I do think that Cam Ward deserves critique there, especially from the things that he wasn't doing well. I'm not trying to defend him from that. If he's doing wrong, then I want him to be corrected because that's the only way we're going to get better as a franchise. And it starts with the quarterback playing at an elite level. And the thing is, we keep hearing and seeing these practice situations, but it is yet to transpire over to the game field. And that's what I want to see, Kobe. I mean, understandably that this isn't Brian Dable's full offense. This is a vanilla down, tepid offense that's just being run, and it's understandable because you're just trying to get these guys acclimated to the regular season, and you're not showing your hand because you don't want film for week one for the Jets to have, especially with you using your regular stuff in the regular season. So that being said, I have to feel at some point, is Cam Ward just getting a little bit too much criticism, especially with a sense where we just feel like we want to see what he can do. We've seen these things, but are we just overhyping the whole scenario?
I think he's getting more criticism than he should, especially like what's shaking Titans in the comments. He's on his third head coach in less than 18 months. He's in a new system. He's learning his new receivers, his new weapons that are all pretty much different from last year. He's got Wandell and Tate that he's got to learn. He's got to get on a timing basis with, and it's gonna come with time. Not all quarterbacks just come in and are MVPs out the gate. Like like Josh Allen, it took him some time to learn what he had to do to be a great quarterback in this league. And I think it's just going to be that same thing with Cam. It's going to take that time and a steady, consistent coaching staff, weapons around him, and the more that they work together and in these game situations, it's gonna get better and better. But I like to see that he looked calmer in the pocket. His feet were set when he was throwing, and little things like that is what I look for when I'm watching him right now. At least we know he can get outside the pocket and create and scramble and whatnot, but I just want to see the basic throws made and not throwing interception, not throwing into double coverage or whatever, and costing the team in a turnover. Um, but yeah, I think it's just going to take time, and throughout the season, he's just going to get better and better with Dable calling plays and in his ear, and we know how he works. We know how he listens and takes everything in. He's talked about his time with Dable, how they spend a lot of time together. Um, so yeah, it's gonna take time. It's a new system. It's all about timing with Cam Ward, and I think he's gonna be fine. And the fans are really overreacting, in my opinion, on Cam Ward at least.
Okay, and I think a good point to finish out here on this whole topic. I really enjoyed watching Anthony Hill Jr. last night. He was a breath of fresh air on that defensive backfield, and I really feel the way he's able to cover, he's able to get to the ball, cause disruption. I absolutely loved him playing. And now I have to put this point out here, Kobe. Why isn't he getting more reps with the first team at this point? I would love to see that come when they play Chicago this Saturday.
Yeah, that's a question I've had too. It's like, is Barton just that good in practice or what? Like, it doesn't really make sense to me because I mean, both games that we've seen so far, Barton has just looked slow. And then Hill comes in there and he's just attacking the ball carrier. He's good in coverage. I mean, he can do it all as a linebacker, and I don't really understand why he's not getting those reps with the ones. I would like to see him get those, like you said, in next week's game against the Bears to see how he looks with the whole defense, the starting defense around him. Because I mean, that's only going to make him better and more confident. And I mean, last night he played his butt off. He was around the ball all the time. He was in the backfield. He can backpedal and cover, and I mean he could do it all. And um, I would like to see him get that spot. I just don't really understand what they're seeing with Barton to leave him out there with the ones the whole time. I mean, I get it that he's your veteran player, but at the end of the day, we got to go with who's out there producing and making the most plays. And at this point in time, Anthony Hill Jr. is that guy, and I want to see him get those live reps with the ones next week.
And I just got to say, how beautiful were those painted end zones?
Oh man,
That was
loved it.
so nice.
Loved it.
That was a blast from the past. I miss painted end zones. And I know not every team can do it, especially with, quick turnarounds each week. But man, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I
it was
genuinely
beautiful
hope
to
we
see.
bring that look to the new stadium because that is it. I love it.
Same
And
here. Yeah, that looked beautiful.
not to mention 2-0 in the new uniforms right now. Granted,
There
it's
we go.
preseason, but you know what? We haven't won that many damn games anyway. So I'm going to enjoy the win, damn it. So you might as well too. So don't tell me how to enjoy things.
Undefeated in the new unis. Can't beat it.
So you got to love it. You got to love a little bit of it. All right, guys, we'll take our quick break, and when we come back, Fernando Mania is taking over Nashville, and we think the job might already be won. Quick break. We'll give our thoughts right after this.
You're watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air. Live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. We've got a great crowd in the show right now. The chat is blowing up. Shout out to What's Shaking Titan. We're reading your comments, man. It's just been a busy show, and we want to make sure we get every little bit of Kobe that we can while we've got him tonight. And of course, thank you once again, Kobe, for joining us on the show. And we wanted to make sure we give you a shout out and let the fans know where to find all your great content at right now.
You can find me on X, or formerly Twitter, Champagne Kobe. Drop a lot of photos or video content of the Titans, trying to hype up the fan base for the season. Just a passionate Titans fan, and I love sharing my thoughts and ideas about the organization and football in general. Champagne Kobe on X.
And he's a free agent for anybody that's looking for a talented young man. Believe me, we know what we have here on the show, and he is very capable of giving you some great content as well. So if you're looking, we're just free shout out right there. All right, Kobe, let's jump into segment 2. Fernando Carmona has been a breath of fresh air on the offensive line for the Tennessee Titans. Has he already won the job? Let's talk about it now. I can easily say that Mike Borgonzi's greatest talent is finding players in later rounds. And I think his greatest achievement with the Kansas City Chiefs was taking a shot on Trey Smith in the 6th round, and it paid off handsomely. Kobe, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that Fernando Carmona is going to live up to those expectations that Trey Smith put down when he had the opportunity. But I've got to say, he's played significantly well when given the opportunity, and it looks why the Titans chose him to be their starter right now, and he may already have the job locked up.
Yeah, I think it's a done deal in my opinion. He just looks the part. He's athletic. He plays with power, and he's got a little bit of speed to him too. Last night he ran out in front of a screen and made a pancake block. Um, so yeah, just how quick it happened is just kind of a nod to him and how ready he came in to play and earn him spot in the starting rotation. So yeah, I think it's a done deal, and he what a snag by Borgonzi and the crew in finding him in the 5th round. He played a lot of games at San Jose State, and then he finished his college career at Arkansas. I want to say he had almost 50 starts in college, so he's got the experience. He knows how to play, which is crazy. He played left tackle and left guard in college, and he's come in and pretty much left. No doubt, he's taken all the starting reps with the O line at the right guard spot, and it's just very refreshing to find somebody where I mean I'm pretty confident in him at this point. I know he's been playing against backups in the preseason, but you just want to see him doing his thing and creating holes and playing with that fiery energy that I mean even Big Jeff has talked about that he plays with in practice. And I know Jeff's gotten the best of him sometimes, and that's going to happen. Jeff is probably the best defensive tackle in football, and getting those reps against a guy like that is only going to make you better. It's only going to make you want more and more for yourself. And I think he's just getting better and better, and seeing him take all those first first team reps is refreshing, and knowing they have the confidence in him to go out there and do it and protect Cam, and he's done a dang good job at it up to this point.
And look, I mean, there's a long ways to go, especially with trying to like lock everything down and figure out how they're going to play in a full game, because 3 series isn't going to equal like long term success by any stretch of the imagination. But I've got to say, the right side of the balls looked pretty sturdy. I mean, even JC Latham looks like he's actually played well alongside the
Yes.
rookie.
Yes, and that's going to be huge. I'm looking for a bounce back year or just a step forward for JC Latham as well. Just another year removed from having to play left tackle his rookie year. Um, so just hoping he stays healthy and hoping them two just work well together. And so far, that right side, like you said, has looked very sturdy. And I mean, those are two very big human beings. And um, from what I've seen so far and from what I've heard in joint practices and camp practices, they have done their thing and holding that right side down. And I hope to see them build and gain that chemistry with each other and the rest of the offensive line throughout the season to really lock down that right side. And I know both of their strengths are run blocking. Um, so we know I'm very confident in how we're going to run the ball this year. I mean, with Pete on the left side and Carmona on that right side, that middle is going to be very convenient to run through. And I'm just looking forward to seeing him continue to get better. And man, what a pick by Borgonzi.
And I mean, you bring up the running game, but I mean, let's remember that screen pass from Tajay Spears. The man got out in front and like
Yeah,
just manhandled people like a
yeah,
bulldozer. And that just got me excited. That's the kind of thing you just like, wow, this kid's got something special. And I mean, if they can continue to just develop him at this and just continue pushing him in the right direction, I really like the direction that this offensive line is. I agree with you what's shaking Titans. I mean, this where people were more concerned with the offensive line going into the season. Now everybody's like, wow, we might have something here. Like, I don't know what Fernando's going to be doing at the end of the year, if we're going to be talking about a potential Pro Bowler or an all rookie, but I love the fact that he is playing with that intensity and he is really just out there taking advantage of an opportunity given the fact 5th round pick, 142 overall, and the kid's showing I'm worth the pick.
Yeah, he's showing it for sure, and you could just tell with the energy he plays. He's always looking for somebody to block. He's just always there in the run game. He's creating lanes for the running backs to run through behind him, and it's very, like you said. I mean, we were very concerned about the offensive line going into this year, and I mean, even Schlotman has looked okay at center. So I think our O line isn't gonna be the biggest problem this year, and that's refreshing with what we've seen in the past couple years from our offensive line. So yeah, I love Fernando and I love the energy he's come in with this year, and I hope he can continue on that upward trajectory and be a Pro Bowl type offensive lineman for us for years to come.
And I really feel like that he's got that opportunity to continue doing that if he can progress with his training. As we've seen, I'm really excited to see what he's going to do against this Bears defense. So it'll be fun to watch going forward. All right, guys, we'll take our final break and when we come back, we love you, we mean it, but we got to throw you back out into the real world. Closing time's up next, right after this.
You're watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air. Live streaming you on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. Guys, what can I say? You show up, you show out, you put up a great opportunity for us to read your comments and to interact with you and put on a phenomenal show. As always, it don't miss because you guys continue to give us great fanfare, and we appreciate you so much for it. So one more time before we get the final segment going, shout out to Kobe Allen for joining us on tonight's show. Want to give him a chance to shout out the fans and where to find all his amazing content.
As always, appreciate you having me on. I love doing this thing, and you can find me on X Champagne Kobe or Instagram. I'm Tighten Up with Kobe. Just put out Titans content, Titans pictures, Titans video, hype videos, highlight videos, just whatever comes to my mind. I love sharing my thoughts about the Titans and this organization that I love.
Give the kid a follow. He's definitely worth it because some of the best content out there on Twitter. And I promise you, if you're looking for a kid that can help your team grow, especially if you're a team of content creators, wink, wink, the kid is definitely ready for the challenge. Well, guys, we love you. We mean it. I just can't let you go, but I got to let you go. So hit the damn theme music.
Closing time. Good night, losers.
And it will happen tomorrow as the Tennessee Titans drop their rivalry's uniform. And Kobe, apparently we've already gotten a sneak peek at the Houston Texans, and I'm just going to say that's looking a little bit like the X's wardrobe.
Yeah, it's seems like they can't just move on. They gotta keep the X's belongings close by. Just always remember us, I guess. Yeah, it's rough, but they're doing what they want to do, and it is what it is at this point.
So, I mean, what are your real expectations for tomorrow? I know there's the team black uniform and the team navy uniform. I mean, which way are you going?
So if I were to pick, I would love to see some black in our light blue uniforms. I think those colors go well together. Um, I would say I'm team black. I'm not going to be upset if they're navy color. We've always had the navy. Um, so yeah, I would say I'm team black, but either way we go, I think they're going to be phenomenal. With how our rebrand is, I don't think you can go wrong with our colors. I'm just at this point ready to see what they look like so we can stop the speculation and just get on to them.
Listen, I'll always tell anybody that's trying to figure out anything, look for the subtleties that have already come out. We already know what the Air Max 90s look like, and I genuinely can guarantee you there were subtle clues there that are going to equal what we are going to see tomorrow. And I promise you, I'm going to be happy one way or the other. I think it's going to be navy. I think you're definitely going to see the string pattern, which is what they're trying to sell. I definitely think you may potentially see the alternate logo on the helmet. And if you paid attention to those Air Max 90s, there was a certain font on the shoe that was very eye-catching and very much a reason to think that could be involved as well. Will that happen? I'm just speculating here because why not? We've got at least maybe 12 more hours before these things drop. So we already know one of them that's come out. And, you know, I guess for Houston, they're tying in with just part of what their city culture is. And okay, I just, if you're in Houston, you understand it. If you're outside of Houston, you've got questions. And especially if you're a Kentucky fan. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it's different for sure, and I think like you said, the people in Houston are gonna like it and know what they're doing with it. But outside of that, there's gonna be a lot of questions onto what it really means. Um, but yeah, I just wish they would go on about their business and using our colors, but it is what it is at this point, and I guess we got to accept that the fact that they're never going to let it go.
Well, I'll just put it this way. I mean, the NFL and the Titans both had to give a thumbs up to it because Houston can't use that color tone. So it's their own color. But I mean, it's just it's cringy at times. But at the same time, let's just end with this. Out of the 8 uniforms that they're doing a rivalry with, where would you rank it right now, being the first to be released? Well, unofficially released, but it's released.
Very close to the bottom. Very close to the bottom. I'm not a fan of it.
So are we saying 6 through 8?
Yeah, we'll say 6 through 8.
So you're not ready to commit to an 8, but you'll put it right in that range.
Yeah, I think someone could come out with something worse, but they definitely have the potential to be the worst. I'll put it that way.
I mean, I think right now with me, I don't hate it. I get their color palette's completely different in that blue. And I mean, it's a whole debate on itself. But I mean, my biggest thing is it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I figured they'd want to do something that would pop a little more, but I mean, it's their colorway, it's their uniform. But for me, it's fine. I guess I'd put it at a 5 because I really don't want to take any of those other 3 slots. So we'll see how that goes. But for me, I just put it at 5 right now, and that could change.
Yeah, I just know that ours are going to be better. That's all I know.
Well, I'm definitely going to be relieved once these get released, and I hope y'all got a little money saved aside because these things are definitely going to like dig into your checkbook. Once again, if it wasn't bad enough, we had to like rebrand with the rebrand.
Cannot wait. Been waiting a long time. The anticipation is very real over here.
The excitement is very real. All right, guys, thank you for joining us tonight on the Power Hour. Before we get out of here, round of applause for you for making a great show as always. And shout out to everybody in the comments, What's Shaking Titans, and of course, Mom, love you, mean it. Mwah. Good seeing you all tonight. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell for more notifications when you're on your way out on our YouTube channel. And I will be back tomorrow night on the Roundtable Sports as we break down each of the preseason games. And also, we may be doing a blind quarterback ranking, so you won't want to miss that. It'll be interesting to see where I put our guys. But that'll do it for us tonight. We appreciate you. And one more time for Kobe Allen, shout out to him for joining us on the show tonight. We appreciate you for taking the time to be here with us, Kobe. So before we get out of here, one more time, give the audience a shout out and let them know where to find your great content at.
Great show. Had a lot of fun. Always have a lot of fun coming on. So I appreciate you having me. Find me on X, Champagne Kobe, Instagram. I have a Tighten Up with Kobe page. Kind of similar content, images and highlight videos and whatnot. But yeah, just love content creating, and love making content about my beloved Tennessee Titans. So thank you again for having me on.
He's in his Mamba mentality, and we're glad that he did it on our show. So that'll do it for us, guys. Tyler will be back next week, and we will break down the last game of preseason and everything that's going to go with it. 53-man roster, practice squad, and, of course, mere weeks away from kickoff 2026. It feels good to say those words. So that'll do it for us tonight. Have a great night. We'll be back next Monday. So for Kobe Allen, I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour. And as always, take care and tighten up. You're watching the Titan Upload Network.